Welcome back to the Lawless Sports Podcast. As always, I am your host, Casey Lawless, but today is a very special day. We have a very special guest. My friend, my man, known for 15 years. This is Jason Schulman. Welcome to the show, brother. How are we doing today?
It's great to be on, man. It's great to be on. It's been a long time coming. Glad to be here.
Thank you, for sure, man. But, without further ado, we're going to jump right in. We are going to be breaking down the NFC East division. In my opinion, the most interesting division in all of the National Football League. From all the talks, from injuries, to Carson Wentz coming back, to Dak Prescott being Dak Prescott. All right, but enough said about that. We're going to be starting off right now with the Washington Redskins.
Oh boy.
Jason, are they going to be a threat in this division in the coming season?
The answer is no. They are not going to be a threat, and I kind of feel bad for them. They are always the team that's right there. They always start off the season strong, but they always just end on such a horrible note, and it's partially because of injuries, partially because it's the Redskins. They always feel like the little brother to the big brothers, the Eagles and the Cowboys. It's been that way for a while. Their offensive line's been decimated the last 2 years. When healthy, they could have a great offensive line. Trent Brown, Brandon Sheriff. They have pieces there.
Trent Brown, one of the best left tackles. Trent Williams, right?
Oh, Trent Williams. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in football. Just an absolute stud. Brandon Sheriff, he's a vet. He's been in the league for years, and he definitely knows what he's able to do, man. But I think we should jump right into these injuries, dude. They've been killer, the last 3 seasons. Just down. But what's your take on it?
Absolutely, and they drafted Darius Geis last year. I was excited to see him play, and he goes down for the season.
Stud.
I think him and Adrian Peterson would have been a great combo. This year, I guess we'll see, but it just feels like injury is the story of their recent history. They used 4 quarterbacks last year. Alex Smith went down. They had Mark Sanchez, Colt McCoy, Josh Johnson. If Josh Johnson and Mark Sanchez are playing any snaps for you, you have no shot of winning. And you know that. You have no shot of winning any games.
Bro, Josh Johnson was apparently the steal of the draft in the what was the league? The AAF?
Yeah,
God.
Yeah,
he was a starting quarterback. Oh my God. If Josh Johnson is who you're looking to lead the troops, you might want to look elsewhere, man. But, in my opinion, man, I'm going to disagree just a little bit. I like the Redskins over the Giants this season. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. And I think it starts with Haskins, for real.
Absolutely.
I think Dwayne Haskins, he could be the steal of this draft, without question. In my opinion, I think he was the most pro-ready out of any of these QBs, even though I like Kyler Murray coming out.
That's a bold statement right there.
It is. It's a bold statement, but listen. The way that Haskins dropped back at Ohio State, I really liked his delivery of the football. I think he has a little too much Eli in him in terms of the way he throws the football. Right. I don't think there's enough torque coming through the torso. I think it's all arm, and I think that could damage him throughout his NFL career or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's definitely somebody who I really like, and if Jay Gruden can trust him with the offense and let Haskins run it the way he wants to run it, I think they could surprise a lot of people, especially if you're making a 34-year-old running back in Adrian Peterson run for over 1,000 yards. Clearly, that offense can do something right. But I really do like the Redskins this season, and I really like DJ Swearinger, and I really like HaHa Clinton Dix, and I like what they're doing.
And Landon Collins, we're forgetting that they brought in Landon Collins. He's a downhill kind of safety, he's a box safety, but hey, I think it's a great addition, to be honest. They stole him from the Giants, in my opinion. I think the Giants should have kept him.
Landon Collins is a stud. He's a stud. But he didn't want to play for the Giants. He didn't. That was evident in his play last season. It was uninspired but incredible in my opinion. He was just kind of one of those guys. I'm going to play football because I'm one of the best safeties in this league, but I'm not going to do it for the Giants. I'm going to do it for myself. Right. So maybe he'll find a better home in Washington.
And going back to Haskins,
for sure.
Haskins, he's had a lot of great games. Last year, as a Penn State fan, I hated him because he went to Ohio State, obviously, but he had a lot of great games. I did get to go up and see him personally, or watch him close and personal when they played Penn State, and I guess that game, he might have soured on me that game. He had a great fourth quarter comeback, but there were a lot of times where he was flustered. He was inaccurate, especially throwing it down the field. So, I think he has a lot of potential, and I think where the Redskins drafted him at 15 is a steal. Because I think the Giants, and we'll get to that later.
We'll get into that, don't worry.
I think the Giants could have had a great shot of getting him, but I do like where he was. I think Keenum will give him, and going with Casey Keenum, I think he will give him some competition. I can't see any way that Haskins isn't the starter. If the Redskins are trying to be competitive this year, which bringing in Collins, like all indications are they're trying to make the playoffs as they should.
Absolutely.
I think they just have to give the nod to Haskins, unless he's just like not ready at all. Unless he like in preseason he stinks it up. Other than that, I think Haskins has to. And they versed the Eagles week 1, so if he has a great game against the Eagles, then he can take off from there.
Not only that, dude, but I think personally, Case Keenum's one of those guys. You don't trust him. You never do. And funny enough, him and Flacco, I don't know if you realize this, in the last 3 seasons have identical stats.
That's not good.
In touchdowns, in yards, and interceptions, and completion percentage, everything is practically identical to Joe Flacco.
And what's funny about that is the Broncos are now trying to have Flacco replace Keenum after Keenum had a horrible year last year. He had a 47.9 QBR. He went 6-10, especially after a great year with the Vikings. I don't know what happened, but I'm not sold on. I never really was.
I don't think it was a great year in Minnesota. I think Minnesota's roster really, and one of my big points that I'm going to make later for the New York Giants is you don't need a grade A QB to win titles or even go to the NFC Championship or even make the playoffs. Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl ring. I don't think any of my listeners know who Trent Dilfer is.
Right.
But point is Case Keenum, I think he's going to start week 1 to week 3. I think he's going to play subpar, below average, and then I think Haskins is going to get the nod in week 4.
So you see him as the bridge to until Haskins you think is ready. You think he's going to sit behind, watch Keenum in action, and
absolutely.
Week 4 Keenum because the Redskins have a hard schedule. So
yeah, they really do.
Whoever they're throwing in, they're throwing them into the fire right
Exactly, and in my opinion, it's going to be a very similar situation with Denver with Joe Flacco and Drew Lock.
Right.
I actually liked Lock a lot coming out of college, much more than I like Daniel Jones. But you know what? What's your prediction on the Washington Redskins for their season? What is going to be their record?
The Redskins, I have them going 4-12, and you know what? You can laugh at that, and I get that, but I think they're going to start 0-3 because they have to go to the Eagles, they have to see the Cowboys and the Bears. Do you see them winning any of those 3 games?
I don't. But you know what I do see? I see 5-11.
Okay.
I give them
That's,
one.
yeah,
I give them one more win, and I give and I'm going to have them 3rd ranked in this East Division. I really do. But I do think that the Redskins can win some games, and hopefully Darius Geis comes back.
Him and AP are going to be one hell of a combo.
Absolutely, man. Darius Geis is definitely somebody who I can see as an every down back. He was just an absolute stud, and I can't wait to see what they do. But enough said about that. We're going to get right into the New York Football Giants. Jason, was Daniel Jones the missing piece in the puzzle?
Once again, no, he was not. And what really bothers me is when the general manager, Dave Gettleman, said that they think that some team would have taken him from the time they had the 17th pick, but why not trade back a few spots? And you could have picked up an additional 2nd-round pick. I get that. Look, if you really think he's your quarterback of the future, you have to take him there, right? You agree with that? If you think he's that guy,
if you think he's the guy who's going to lead this franchise for the next 12 seasons, you gotta take him at 2.
But I'm not buying that no team or some team would have taken him from then. Honestly, I think they could have got him at 17. If you really think some team would have jumped up to get him, or some team would have taken him in the top of the draft, like the Bengals, or maybe if the Redskins, if he was still there for them, you got to trade back and pick him an additional 2nd-round pick. I think they could have used that pick on so many other players. Josh Allen was still there. Their defensive line is struggling. They could have picked up so many better players.
Bro, I'm about to get right into that because listen, this might be the boldest statement of the year. Daniel Jones at number 2 is by far one of the most sickening things that I've ever seen in my entire life as a sports fan. I can't make it up. You can call it mean, you can call it whatever you want. It's factual. And this is the biggest thing, and here's why. When you struggle at the collegiate level as a quarterback, that's a bad sign. You should be dominating college football.
No, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah,
especially at Duke.
Absolutely.
It's an extremely weak division. He had a 60% completion percentage throughout college.
It's just not good enough.
52 touchdowns to 29 interceptions in 3 seasons.
Okay. If you're going to say 1 season, I say it's unbelievable. In 3 seasons, that's not that good.
3 seasons, 52 TDs to 29 interceptions. Pitiful. Yeah. It is absolutely pitiful. And the biggest thing is this. Unless Daniel Jones becomes a Hall of Famer, and I mean that, a Hall of Famer, not a Pro Bowler, not an All-Pro, not an all-time great, a Hall of Famer, this is the worst decision by a franchise in NFL history. And number 2.
I think it also depends on Dwayne Haskins. I think if he ends up busting and if 50 other quarterbacks end up busting, it won't be as bad. I think this quarterback draft was looked at one really good quarterback in Kyler Murray, one transcendental quarterback. But other than that, I think that I mean, I see him being an average starter, but I mean, I can tell you're very sour on him already.
Man, everything about him I just dislike. I mean, I like, he has a little bit of sneaky athleticism, he's able to escape the pocket, able to make plays on his feet, but in terms of just arm talent, which is all this is what the NFL is now. It's a passing league. You have to be a dominant dominant passing attack. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore. You have to stretch the field. You have to go down and make plays, dude. But what I will say is this. I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this too, man. But I think Eli Manning, if you look at the film, if you look at the tape last season, he's still a comparable starting quarterback in the NFL. The most mistakes he made was when targeting Odell Beckham Jr. When he was targeting every other receiver on the field, he was making the right reads, he was making the right throw. He was forcing it to OBJ way too much. They clearly never had chemistry, and OBJ just couldn't make the plays that Eli was trying to make.
Absolutely.
But when Eli would target a guy like Sterling Shepard, or a guy like, oh my God, what's his
Evan Ingram?
Yes, thank you. Evan Ingram. I always, him and Eric Ebron, are kind of one of the same to me. But, Evan Ingram, when he would target those guys in the flats and, 5 to 10 yards down the field, those intermediate routes, he was hitting them every single time. It was only when he was targeting Odell Beckham that's when problems would start. That's when the interceptions would rise. That's when the completion percentage went down. You have the number 2 pick. You're telling me right now, Ed Oliver, Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Devin Bush, Devin White, Clelin Ferrell, who was a reach, but still, there are so many players in this draft. This could go down as one of the greatest defensive drafts.
Oh, absolutely.
In NFL history.
I think, even when they traded back, there's still a bunch of great, it's unbelievable. I mean, and then they picked Dexter Lawrence at 7. I mean, I guess that's okay, but I mean, I feel like honestly they could have picked him up there, and then they could have taken Daniel Jones at 17. So I think that's an indication of I think he was taken a little bit too high.
The worst part about it, dude, is taking Dexter Lawrence. I loved him coming out of Clemson. I think he's an incredible talent, but he's just your Damon Harrison replacement. So you're not really gaining anything. This league is passing and pass rushing. That is what this league is. They don't come often. Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams.
There's another one right
there. Ed Oliver.
Williams. They passed on.
That's hard to pass up on. Draft, and you take none of them.
I agree.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
Going back to your point on Eli, I will agree. If Daniel Jones, he's going to get every opportunity to start because it's apparent. I mean, they haven't released Eli, but it's apparent they believe he's on his last wheels. It's time for Daniel Jones to take over. But I can honestly see Daniel Jones not performing, and he doesn't have a great offensive line. The Giants have never been known to have a great offensive line. If he doesn't perform in the preseason, I mean, fans are going to be baffled. They're going to be we have a 36 or however old Eli is,
he's old,
an old quarterback, and then you don't want to see any more of him. You want to see your new guy play, just like when the Eagles took Wentz. We wanted to see him play right away. We wanted nothing to do with Bradford, and they ended up trading him before the season started. But it's a tough situation to be a Giants fan right now.
Oh my God, especially when your GM says that Daniel Jones, this is a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation. Are you kidding me? He said he wants Eli to start for the next 2 to 3 seasons and Jones sit on the bench. You don't take a quarterback number 2 to sit on the bench. Aaron Rodgers was taken, I believe, low 20s in the 2004 draft. That makes sense. You know what I mean? You have him sit. You don't think he's ready. I mean, in my opinion, he was better than Alex Smith in that draft. But, we've clearly seen, that's already been proven.
Right.
But this isn't a quarterback, Eli Manning, who's willing to take hits for 2 to 3 more seasons for Jones to finally step into the, 2023 season, 2022 season?
Yeah, right.
It's illogical. It doesn't make any sense. I got the Giants going. I got them going 3-13. I think they're going to be an absolute train wreck. What do you think?
You know what? I'm going to give them a couple more wins than you are. I think they're going to start 2-2 because they do have a home game against Buffalo in week 2, and the Josh Allen, the quarterback.
I like Josh Allen. Funny enough.
Honestly,
he surprised a lot of people last season.
I think considering Jalen Ramsey put a target on his back saying he sucks. I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah.
I think he performed past his expectations. To be honest with you, I think he'll have a good year too. I'm just not sold on what's around him. I mean, the Buffalo, they're clearly in a rebuilding stage. They threw him under the fire for a reason.
They have an interesting receiver core. I mean, they got a guy in who they have Foster. Oh my gosh.
They brought in Cole Beasley.
No,
Zay Jones.
Cole Beasley. That's what I'm saying. Zay Jones. But there's another guy, Foster, who was pretty decent last season for Buffalo. But I don't believe in their defense. And, that's funny enough, dude. All right, now we're getting on Buffalo. But what I will say is this.
Yeah, right.
Buffalo's defense was a defense who I always liked a lot. I mean, they always had great guys. They had Gilmore. I believe they also had Darby at a point. They had, Darby. That's where I got Darby from. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer.
Their defense was great 3 years. When Jim Schwartz, and then he came to us. Now look at he's making our defense great, so I appreciate Jim Schwartz.
So do I, man.
Anyway, going back to the Giants, though, I think
for sure.
They played Tampa week 3. I've never been sold on I mean, I like Jameis. I mean, honestly, I liked him before the draft, but he just hasn't proven anything.
You can't say a guy 5 seasons in is too young is making mistakes. Are you kidding
absolutely.
me? You can't.
And now that Fitzpatrick retired, they don't have a backup option either, so, Did you hear about that?
Did he officially retire?
He officially retired, Ryan Fitzpatrick, a couple weeks ago.
So what, he signed with Miami?
Did he? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Fitzpatrick?
Oh, wow. No, I'm pretty sure he retired. Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You take a look at that.
I will, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, they have Rosen, but if I'm not mistaken, Fitzpatrick got signed to Miami. But enough said about that. One more thing before we leave the New York Giants.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking of Josh McCown. I got those two mixed up.
All right.
You're right. I apologize to the viewers. I got that mixed up. I was thinking of Josh McCown.
No worries,
yes. Josh McCown is the one that retired a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, dude, the man in many jerseys. But what I will say is one more topic before we jump into the next team. Saquon Barkley. Will he emerge as the best running back in football next season?
And I know your opinion on this, and I think this is going to be the first topic we actually agree on. Absolutely. He is that great of a running back. I got to watch him at Penn State. And Penn State's never been known to have a great offensive line. Anyone that goes there will tell you that. Anyone that watches them will tell you that. He made dudes miss in the backfield 2 to 3 times per play. It was unbelievable. He has the perfect blend of speed. His 40 time, he had a 4.4, and he thinks he should have got a 4.3, which I believe he did. James Franklin even went on record saying his combine was okay. He's that special. He can make dudes miss. He can truck anybody. His vision is unbelievable. Just watching him last year, there were so many times behind the line of scrimmage he was caught by 2 or 3 defenders, and he somehow got out of it for either no yard or a gain, which is unbelievable considering he should have been a 5-yard loss.
Bro, that Thursday night game against the Giants just made me so mad because my man had 168 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And on a screenplay, I'm pretty sure he made 7 defenders look absolutely clueless. And it's Saquon Barkley. He's just, what more can you say about him? What more can he be for you? He reminds me a lot of so many running backs, especially Le'Veon Bell. Just his pass catching ability is outstanding. He can legitimately run routes out of the slot. Saquon, he's a stud. He makes the right read every time. There was not a game last year that I watched of the Giants where he read the wrong hole or he read the wrong side. He was just amazing.
No, he definitely.
And Saquon to me, he's somebody who I think is just going to improve year after year after year. And I think Saquon's going to be the best running back in this league for a very long time. I mean, there's definitely guys, of course, like Le'Veon Bell. Don't sleep on David Johnson yet. I'm telling you, dude's still a stud. You got guys like Zeke. Zeke, he's going to eat always.
Absolutely.
Especially behind that offensive line. Darren McFadden had 1,000 yards about them.
The thing about Zeke is Zeke just has a great offensive line, and I get that. It definitely helps. I'm not taking anything away from Zeke and someone like Todd Gurley as well. I mean, those are just elite running backs. I just think Saquon, his work ethic, his attitude, it can't be any better than that. He wants it bad. He's going to get it, and, he had a great rookie year. I think the sky's the limit for him.
100%, dude. But all right, you know what? Finally, we're going to delve into the so-called America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
That's a sin that they're America's team. How are they America's team? How? Are you kidding me?
All right.
Their fans are more delusional than any fans I've ever known in my life.
Bro, we're going to win it all, baby.
Every year they say that.
Every year. But all right, Jason, enough said about that. What about this team? Why do you think there's so much love for Dak Prescott, and why does Zeke get so little credit?
The thing about that is Dak, he's a great game manager, and I get that. I think people recognize that. He doesn't have the transcendent talent of someone like Carson Wentz, and I think Dak does his job. Last year he had some accuracy issues in some games I've watched. He's missed some wide open receivers, but for the most part, he's just your solid, I would say top 10 quarterback. I don't think and you can win with a top 10 quarterback, as you've seen Nick Foles win.
Did you just call Dak Prescott a top 10 quarterback in the league?
You don't think he's a top 10 quarterback?
Are you kidding me?
Okay, wait. Let's go.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, okay. I have Brady, Rodgers, Breeze. That's 3 right there, right?
Right.
Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield. You're taking Baker over Dak, right?
100%.
Carson Wentz. Okay, so that's 9 right there, right?
You have Mayfield over Wentz. Interesting.
No, well, okay, that wasn't really.
Is this in order? Or?
No, well,
okay.
I guess the first part was, but in general, okay, Wentz and Mayfield are better than Prescott. I would absolutely take them in a heartbeat over Dak. I know you would agree with that. But do you think Jared Goff is better? Like, would you take Goff over Dak? After seeing last year's Super Bowl, like, he just didn't.
Did you say Matt Ryan?
I didn't know. I don't think Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's overrated.
Really?
In my opinion, I think Matt Ryan's overrated.
So you put Dak over Matt Ryan and Big Ben, who just threw for over 5,000 yards.
I think Big Ben. Well, going forward, I think Big Ben. Okay, go like for next year. I think that Dak will have he'll be recognized as a better quarterback than Big Ben in the moment. He obviously nowhere near the resume. He's like 10 years younger.
You put Dak over Cam Newton.
I do.
And you are a big Cam Newton guy.
You know it. I am probably the biggest Cam Newton fan, but just that injury, I don't know if he's even going to play. Is he going to start this year? And I love Cam, but he's just like same with Dak. He's always had accuracy issues, you know?
Wow.
How do you feel about that? You don't think that's top 10?
Crazy. No, not even close. He might not even etch my top 14.
Wow.
I mean that, dude.
Okay, so
you go into Dak. You tell me why you like him.
All right. Well, he's a very good game manager. I mean, for fantasy football, he's had 3 straight top 10 finishes. He has the most fourth quarter comebacks, and he has 15 game-winning drives out of the last 3. Tony Romo had 30 game-winning drives for his career. He already has 15, and he's only 3 years in. Like, I'm not trying to praise Dak, but he is clutch. I mean, that's a fact. He in big moments, and the playoff game against Seattle, the fourth quarter, he came up big.
He did.
You know,
and you can't argue that.
I'm ready to hear your argument for why you don't think he's a top 10 quarterback.
Let me put it to you this way. In my opinion, Cowboys actually have one of the most talented rosters in sports.
I agree.
Mean, for real. Like, I mean, the fact that you have Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch both as linebackers. Studs. Absolute studs. It makes me sick every time I watch them. They're incredible. But the problem is quarterback. You don't get a nickname like Dak and Dunk for no reason. Dak Prescott. It's facts. It's true. He's one of the most... Alright, I will not argue this, but dude, for real, he's one of the most conservative quarterbacks in football.
Don't you think Scott Linehan had anything to do with that? His offense was the most basic... I think any defense could read a Scott Linehan offense.
Alright, enough said about that, dude, but for real, he is... Alright, he can't read a defense past 15 yards. Like...
He's had trouble. Yes, I agree.
He has trouble
with that.
When he's dropping back, looking at the second level. Don't get me wrong. I think guys like Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb are really going to help him next season, especially Amari Cooper.
Speaking of that,
he showed out.
He's the number 1 receiver.
Bro, he was a Pro Bowl receiver his first 2 seasons. He went, dormant. He fell asleep for the next 2, and now he looks like a stud, which I always thought Amari Cooper was coming out of Alabama.
I remember our discussions when we were in high school a couple of years ago. Our discussions. I mean, I had him in the top 5 with the Raiders. He had great, he had rookie year, his great second year. I mean, Derek Carr, that team just went downhill, and he got a fresh start, and now look at him.
Bro, I mean, I love him. I absolutely love him. But it's insulting to me to say he's a top 10 when you are just disrespecting guys like Luck, Wilson, Brady, Rodgers, Wentz, Mayfield, Ryan, Rivers. Listen, I am not sold on Roethlisberger this season, but I still like him better than Dak. I do. Like, you can't throw for 5,000 yards and not be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, okay.
Statistically, it should be impossible.
I think you're. I mean, I know Brady's a game manager. I think you're in love with the fact that he has a chance to be that trendsetting talent. Obviously Dak doesn't take as many risks, and I get that. The quarterbacks that take risk and perform at a high level, like you said, I guess a Phillip Rivers, even a Deshaun Watson who we haven't mentioned, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Deshaun Watson. Jimmy G, don't sleep, man. I like San Fran next season.
I agree those guys have much higher ceilings than Dak, but the level of production Dak had, Dak's floor is so low. He doesn't he can make mistakes at times, but he's very consistent. He's always thrown he's 23 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns. He's never had less than 22 touchdowns. He's only the most interceptions
in a passing league.
Yeah, but look at the Cowboys' record. He's 13-3 his first year. I mean, there was 10-6 last year.
Carson Wentz threw for more touchdowns through 13
I'm not arguing with you about Carson Wentz.
I'm just saying, man, there's just... I don't know if I hate Dak, but I definitely don't like him.
Are you taking him over a healthy Cam Newton? Or are you taking a healthy Cam Newton?
I'm taking a healthy Cam Newton.
Okay. How about...
Cam Newton just provides just such a larger dimension.
Yeah.
And he has a stronger arm, and he can read a defense. He can.
No, I agree. I'm a huge Cam Newton fan. I agree. I just don't know with the injury. How about Matt Stafford or Kirk Cousins? Are you taking Dak over them, or are you taking them over? Matt Stafford.
All right, listen, I'm sorry, dude. Matt Stafford, he's somebody who had such a high ceiling coming out of. I mean, dude, people were talking about drafting him out of high school if it was possible. If they would let him, they would draft him. You know what I mean? Just
he had a big arm, and everyone was in love with his big arm.
Oh my god! But he just they haven't won a single playoff game since he's been drafted. That is remarkably bad.
I think he's proven who he is. I think he's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, and I think Dak's a little bit above. 15 would be average, right? Or 16. There's 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm taking him above average. I think
Kirk and Dak flip-flop. Yeah.
The thing about Kirk is he's the exact opposite. He's not clutch. He throws that interception. He throws that killer interception late in games. I remember against the Cowboys 2 years ago, and he drove them all the way down to the red zone when he was still with the Redskins, and he threw that interception.
He did.
I just don't trust Kirk that late.
It's not that I trust Kirk more than Dak. I just think that Kirk has better quarterback tendencies than Dak does.
Right. I get that. I mean, and Dak's QBR has gone down. He had a 77.6 his first year, a 69.9, a 57.7. I get it's going down, but the fact that he's a very good game manager, he's able to lead his team. They won the division last year because of him. You know, I think they were 3-5 when they traded for Amari Cooper. And every great quarterback needs receivers. I think if you surround Dak, I think he can absolutely lead you to a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he will, but I think he's good enough to lead you to a Super Bowl.
All right. On a serious note, if I'm a Cowboys fan and I want to win titles, Dak's got to go.
Think so?
I do. And look, you got to look elsewhere. You got to either look up, dude. I'm really considering, dude. If I'm Jerry Jones, I'm trading up in the draft next year to get Trevor Lawrence or Jake Fromm. I am.
Well, I think Trevor's 2 years away, but Tua is next year. I think
Tua, not Trevor. Tua. Trevor's 2 years away, right? But Tua. I'm trading up for Tua or Jake Fromm because those look like just incredible prospects.
I agree. I'm very high on Tua and Jake as well.
Absolutely. Jake just looks so pro ready. He really reminds me like a lot of Breeze. Like just stands strong in the pocket, just delivers every strike, every throw. And guess what, dude? If they do that, that's going to make Dak work harder to be like, yo, they just traded up. Clearly, there's something that they don't see. So that's going to make him work harder to become a better quarterback. And guess what, dude? If he does, then all you got to do is trade Tua or Jake, and you can get a shit ton of assets, like so many, for those guys of that talent, especially if they start to really believe in Dak, and he already shows maybe he throws 30-plus touchdowns next season, or the season after they draft Fromm or Tua, you know what I mean?
Right.
And over 4,000 yards. Like, either he shows, like, yo, Dak's putting in the work, he's becoming a better quarterback because of this. And then guess what? If he doesn't, trade Dak. And now you have Jake Fromm or Tua. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then you start in a better situation. Like, I don't know. If you want to win championships, it's not with Dak Prescott.
Well, I agree that Zeke and Amari Cooper definitely help, and they have they've had one of the best offensive lines for the last 3 years. They've done phenomenal drafting offensive linemen. But I think that Dak is the guy, with the pieces around him, and that's what it's all about. It's not about saying, if you put Dak on, the Redskins, would he still be good? It's about what they have on the Cowboys. If he's the guy, if you think he's the guy, you got to pay him. Now, do I think he should be paid Carson Wentz money? No, but...
Not even close. Not even close.
But I still think that if everything goes right for the Cowboys, I still think they need help in the secondary. I think if they build their secondary... I mean, as an Eagles fan, they're the one team I'm afraid of. Whenever we verse the Cowboys, I do have a fear that Dak can pull it out. I do.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to lie about that. I do.
Dak and Kirk remind me so much of each other. I never looked at Kirk and was scared, and I'd never look at Dak and I'm scared. What I'm scared of is a tipped interception turning into a Amari Cooper touchdown that wins them the game in overtime. I almost cried.
My mood level just went from the highest it can go to the lowest it can go. That was
100-0 real quick. Dude, in my eyes, I was like, oh my God, Rasul just made the play of the game. And then Amari Cooper catches it.
You feel horrible for Rasul, too. And there was also a play with a 7-yard touch. I think Crevion LeBlanc was the one guarding him, where he just completely missed it, and he just got a 7-yard touchdown. But you're right, luck plays a part into it. But I do think at the end of the day, I put Dak in that 10 to 13 range. I'm interested. Do you think he's the 13 to 20 range, 13 to 15? Where would you put him?
If I had to really break down and rank Dak Prescott, I'm saying he's between 14 and 16. He's as middle of the pack or just kind of above middle of the pack as they come.
Mm-hmm. So I think we disagree on a couple of spots, but at the end of the day, I think we both agree that Dak is not a transcendent. He's not a transcendental.
He is not a transcendent talent. He's not going to give you Rodgers throws. It's just he's not going to win like Brady.
He's a safe game manager. Now. He's a safe game manager, and if everything goes right, he'll be.
He's a better version of Alex Smith.
I agree with that.
Right now.
I agree.
I'm not arguing that Dak can't develop. But what I am arguing is if you want to win right now, I don't think it's with Dak. That's my opinion.
I think, and I respectfully disagree with that. But I think that's fine from there. But how about the Cowboys? Where do you see the Cowboys going? Like, did you think they'll win the division? You think they'll be, I
don't think they'll win the division, but I do see them winning 10 games. I see them going 10-6.
That's it. You must be looking at my notes because that's exactly what I have them. 10-6. I think they're going to lose to New Orleans at Week 4. I actually think they're going to lose at the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be a surprise team.
Bro,
personally,
I
can see them losing that game.
Darnold a lot.
I think him and Bell is the perfect 1-2 punch, a decent offensive line.
And Robbie Anderson, man, he's again another young stud. Watched him coming out of Temple. He's a beast.
I agree, and they added Jameson Crowder, so I think the Jets are there.
Another possession receiver.
I think they'll split with Philly, personally. I mean, I would love to say the Eagles will win, but the Cowboys, they've had our number. They won, twice last year? They beat us both times?
They beat us both times.
They have to play the Rams, the Patriots, the Chicago Bears. They have a tough schedule as well, but I think...
I like Chicago a lot.
I think they're good enough to get that last wild card spot.
Yeah, man, for sure. 10-6, definitely with the Dallas Cowboys, definitely in unison on that one. But finally, we've gotten to the one that I've wanted to get to all episode. Our beloved team from the city of brotherly love, the Philadelphia Eagles. Jason, very simple question. How high are your expectations set for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2019?
Almost too high, and I think that's every Eagles fan's expectations. It might be to a fault, but if you look at this roster, what don't they have? Seriously, we can go from quarterback to coach to safety to kicker to everything. They're not lacking in one position.
It's been a long time since it's been like that too, and the one thing that the Eagles have always lacked, in my opinion, has been secondary, and we have arguably the best secondary in football. I mean, I'm still trusting in Malcolm Jenkins. I love Ronnie McLeod. I love
coming off the injury,
love Ronald Darby. I think he is a stud. Jalen Mills can go away, but that's okay. I really like Crevan LeBlanc. I like Rasul Douglas a lot. He's definitely somebody, to me, who has been really stepping up in that nickel-dime role as that slot corner. Love him. I really do. And Sidney Jones.
That's the wild card.
He was the best corner in that draft. Problem is he tore his ACL. So, in his senior season. So, he had to sit his entire rookie year. I think Sidney Jones is someone who should surprise a lot of people, and I think quarterbacks are going to test him a lot, and I think they're really going to pay for it.
I agree with that, and the thing is, you mentioned Crevan LeBlanc, they also have Avonte Maddox, who was great last year, so I think they have too many slot cornerbacks, which isn't a bad thing, obviously. I think they'll fight for that. I think Jones and Darby are your outside cornerbacks, if Jones is healthy. If not, I think Maddox could be that guy. Going with Jalen Mills, I do agree. I think it's not
burnt toast.
He had his bad moments. He also had the moment against Julio Jones 2 years ago. That's fourth. I get it. Jones might have missed it, but he did play defense on it.
No, he didn't. Julio Jones, the ball went straight through his hands, and you know what? Even if Julio came down with it, he would have been out of bounds if you saw where his feet were.
Yeah, right.
But Jalen, he fell on him, and he didn't even jump up. He barely put his hand up above Julio's shoulder pads, and he was just lucky that Julio missed. How about, speaking of the Falcons, if you even know who this is, Justin Hardy, their slot receiver, hit him with a double move, and Jalen Mills went to Narnia, and Justin Hardy went to pay dirt for 65 and a touchdown.
He can't guard a double move to save his life. I agree with that.
As a corner.
I get that. I think personally the best role for Jalen would be like that third safety. I know he signed Sendejo. I think he could come in and be like that third safety. So do I. He was very good on the Vikings.
Bro, I think what they should do is what Dallas did, but the opposite with Byron Jones. Byron Jones, they drafted him to play safety. They moved him to corner. I think Jalen Mills should be moved to free safety. And I think maybe he should play in that role with Malcolm Jenkins. Maybe you move McLeod. Get him out of there. Or if you really like McLeod, move Mills.
I was going to say, do you see Mills have any value on the market?
I think Mills has plenty of value. I think teams really like Mills for God knows why, but I think they do. I think they just see young, athletic, very fast, can kind of play corner, but I think his role would much be better suited in a free safety role.
Right, no, I agree with that. And I think that's a testament to how deep the Eagles' corners are. Like, that's always been a weakness of ours.
Absolutely.
But I don't think what people are realizing is now we have too many corners. I mean, Rasul could start on some teams.
He's going to be a backup. He really could.
Maddox or LeBlanc, one of them is going to be a backup. They're probably going to want to be traded, whoever doesn't win that job, because they can start on other teams. So it
would be an absolute shame if nobody was traded from this secondary.
Yeah, I agree. There's too many.
There's too much value. There's too much value to sit on our bench. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. You are just as good as your weakest link. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
But there's too many. Somebody's got to go. Maybe two have to go. You know what I mean?
No,
and a lot of teams value Maddox right now. Like, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely. Well, he's the one I would hold on to. He's the youngest. I really liked what I saw from him last year. I'm not sure if you're as high on him as I am.
I'm high on him. I thought he was a little overrated. I thought there were definitely plays where he got absolutely cooked. Yeah. But
well,
he's still a good piece who I think that the Eagles should hold on to. If I had to trade anybody, I would say Rasul and Jalen. I love Rasul Douglas, don't get me wrong, but I think he has the most value out of anybody on the secondary, especially in a trade sense.
Yeah, he's very young. Obviously you mentioned with the Amari Cooper play, but other than that, he's rock solid. You know, he gets interceptions, he finds the ball, and like I said, I think that's just a testament to how deep our secondary is. But and our linebackers too. We were just talking about we picked up Zach Brown,
huge
with
signing,
Bradham.
Huge.
I think our linebackers are solid. We brought in LJ Fort. I mean, that was another weakness because of last year, because of Jordan Hicks being injured. I know he's injury prone, but I think we really upgraded that position.
I think Jordan Hicks is sad. That's one of the saddest stories ever, man. I mean, such a stud when he's on the field. Reminds me a lot of Sean Lee. Like, such a stud when he's on the field, never on the field. You know what I mean?
That's
always hurt. So I think he's gonna do great. Where did he sign? It was
the Cardinals.
Yeah, Arizona. Absolutely. I think he'll be great there. I think he'll definitely add a better dimension to that defense. It's just such a shame that he's not an Eagle anymore. But what I will say is this. I think with Zach Brown, that signing from the Washington Redskins, he's been nothing but productive. And they just showed no love. I mean, I guess with the signing of Reuben Foster, they didn't.
And they also have Mason Foster. Yeah. I guess they didn't really need another linebacker, but
is it Reuben? Is it Reuben or Mason, or is it both?
I think they have both actually.
Jeez.
I think it's both the Fosters, but one man's trash, another man's treasure. We will take him.
We will absolutely take him. He is a stud. So your expectations are really high. My expectations are sky high, for real. I'm not guaranteeing Super Bowl bound or win, but I am guaranteeing an NFC Championship appearance.
They have to, and I agree, they have to make it there. They have everything. Their offense is loaded. I mean, we didn't even talk about the offense.
Bro,
they're loaded.
Dude, I mean, you got X, Y, and Z are all covered. Ertz, Jeffrey, Jackson, Aguilar, Jordan Howard. I mean, there are just studs upon studs on this team. And don't forget, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman in this draft, Andre Dillard.
Yeah,
and
I love the pick.
We got him, dude. And you know what? The only way I would have been is maybe go playmaker, maybe go Hollywood Brown, trade Aguilar, you know what I mean? Just see, how Marquise fits into the offense. Or another one, it was, I believe his name is Justin Abram, safety out of Mississippi State.
Him.
Great playmaking safety, definitely a guy who could learn from Jenkins, and then Jenkins, moves on. But I like what they're doing instead with the left tackle role with Jason Peters. In my opinion, I love Jason Peters. I think he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I would have traded him 2 years ago. On the 2 years, he's hurt. He's on his last legs. Still an incredible pass protector. Can't really block the run that well. He was rated very poorly in the run blocking role as a left tackle. But I think Andre Dillard, this is the perfect person for him to look up to. Perfect person for him to take that role. I'm thinking even maybe if Wisniewski or Samolo doesn't work out at left guard, slide over Dillard to left guard.
I was going to say slide Peters in the left guard.
Or either way, you know what I mean? I mean, left guard's a much easier position to play, which is why I would keep them there. You know what I mean? If Samolo isn't working out, I like Wisniewski a lot. Jason Kelce is someone who I actually dislike a lot. I think he is a stud guard playing center. He cannot pass protect. He is too small for the position of center. He is a great pulling center, which isn't even a position that exists. That really, the Eagles have really...
Yeah, it's very rare that we see.
The Eagles have really just taken advantage. You know what I mean? Yeah. 0-1 trap, any running back play like that is huge for him.
That's not in our playbook, really.
It should be, though. You know what I mean? But, what I will say is, Jason Kelce, to me, I think he's, as a center, overrated. I think he's an incredible run-blocking offensive lineman, whether you're sliding from left guard to right guard to center. I think he's incredible. But a lot of reasons why Wentz had to immediately call hike and run around and show off that ability is because Kelsey could just not contain what was in front of him. But I really like this offensive line. I think Lane Johnson is the best right tackle in football. Again, he's just never on the field. That's for different reasons, though. My man is, with these PEDs, gotta chill, man. You're already talented. Stop trying to boost yourself or whatever you're trying to do, but
he's a staple there. I will say, when he's on the field, he is a staple. I think our offensive line, like you said, I think it's tops in the league, top 3. I mean, I can't say if they're better than the Steelers or the Cowboys. That's hard to get into, but they are up there. They should give Wentz enough time. And speaking of Wentz, I don't know if you realize this red zone offense is going to be lethal. Could you imagine Alshon Jeffrey on one side, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside,
bro? We didn't even mention him.
Him on the other side, and a 2 tight end set with
still have Dallas Goedert.
And
he is a stud, an absolute stud, bro. I'm so excited for this offense to be top 5 in scoring next season.
Absolutely.
Really am.
How do you defend that? You have Alshon and JJ, they're both jump ball receivers. I mean, one-on-one they're hard to defend. You can't double any of them with Ertz and Goddard.
Exactly. You can't double them. Plus, you still have Jordan Howard in the backfield. You still have Clement, who is a great pass catcher.
Hey, don't forget my guy Miles Sanders.
Bro, Miles Sanders. I mean, there are just so many weapons, dude. I don't want to be Vince Young, call this the dream team or anything, but
no, let's not make that mistake.
Let's not make that mistake again. But the Eagles, I think, top to bottom, have the best roster in football. I mean, you can argue other teams again, like Dallas, dude. For real, I think they have an incredible roster. The Chargers, who I think have just been so good, but just for some reason just can't take that next step. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right.
They've been incredible, though.
Absolutely.
But they did lose Tyrell Williams in free agency, and that's going to be huge for them.
They will. We'll see if Mike Williams can step up and be that number 1 receiver like he was drafted to be.
He did. The end of the season last year, he was playing incredible. But enough said about the Chargers. We are talking about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely. And the reason I think that they cannot fail is because I think, number 1, they have the best quarterback in the division.
They do.
I think they have the best wide receiver core in the division.
100%.
Tight end isn't even arguable.
They might have the best wide receiver core in football, let alone the division.
If G-Jax is still as productive, if he can stretch the field better than Mike Wallace could have.
If Jackson gets 800 yards and 6 touchdowns next season, it was a steal. I
can't explain how much that opens up the offense, because we never had that guy that his safeties would play in. They would never have to worry about someone getting behind them. And now and we know Wentz can throw deep. I remember 2 years ago his MVP, he should have won MVP if he didn't get hurt.
Absolutely.
He threw that deep bomb to Matt Collins against the Redskins. It was beautiful, and I think he could do that with Deshaun Jackson.
Bro, with that one play to Aguilar against the Cardinals where he juked out and then spun out the same guy. That was disgusting. He has already proven that he has the arm talent, the arm strength to get it 55 yards down the field. He can do it. Deshaun Jackson, again, Carson Wentz said in an interview, in a press conference, he said, listen, Deshaun Jackson is just one of those guys whose speed is just unbelievable. It's not real until you see it when you're playing on the same field with him. So, dude, their chemistry is already getting. Him, Jeffrey, and Jackson are already going to Sixers games, and
their chemistry's fantastic.
They're hanging out, they're going to restaurants together, that's just what I love to see. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's a beautiful, definitely. When you see on TV and you see AI sitting next to D-Jax going crazy when Embiid hits a post fadeaway.
Bro, it's beautiful. To be a Philadelphia sports fan right now, it's pretty incredible.
It's a great time. But going back, I think the Eagles' offensive line, you can debate Cowboys or Eagles, but it's still tops of the league. Defensive line, we didn't even mention the defensive line. With Derek Barnett coming back, he was a stud his rookie year.
Bro.
Unfortunately, got hurt last year. But even with the loss of Michael Bennett, we have enough guys.
Michael Bennett, I think, was truly incredible for us, and I don't think a lot of people really appreciated how good Michael Bennett really was for this defense. I mean, there are a lot of penalties and things like that he was constantly causing, but his ability to rush the passer, I think, is almost unparalleled. But we have second best interior defensive lineman in Fletcher Cox. I can't put him above Aaron Donald.
No, I mean
he's an alien.
You just don't do that now. He's not better, but he's on a different planet. But Cox is in that reason. There's levels.
Who really is above Cox other than Donald? Nobody.
Cox. I could have said Gerald McCoy, but that was 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Gerald McCoy, still a stud in my opinion. He got signed to Carolina. We'll see how he does there. But Fletcher Cox is the second best defensive tackle in football, no question. Brandon Graham is still there. Brandon Graham,
absolutely.
again, is another stud who's going to get you 10 sacks.
Super Bowl MVP, man.
Bro.
He should have been. I mean, well,
he should have
been. But that sack fumble on Brady
sack strip fumble,
saved the game.
That was the game. That was absolutely the game. So, man, I'm just
going through position by position. I mean, the Eagles, like, they're tops at almost everything in the division. There's no way they don't win this division. They have the best coach in the division.
Absolutely.
They just, like, there's not enough that the other teams have that.
I hope. Sorry to cut you, but what I'm saying is
okay.
this. Doug Peterson, I hope he returns to his 2017 self because he took risk after risk after risk after risk, and it always paid off. It really did. It was very rarely it didn't. I felt like in 2018 he slowed down with the risk taking just a little bit.
Safe.
He played it safe, and it showed. I think it did, and I think. But next season, I think it's going to show in our record. I have us going 13-3. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will emerge as not only the NFC's best team, but the second best team in the NFL.
You know what, and that's not far-fetched at all. I actually have them going 12-4. You know what, and I'm not going to talk about the Packers, but, I mean, they have to play the Packers in Week 4. Having to go to Rodgers, I think that's their first loss. I think they win the first 3. I think Week 4 at Green Bay, it's going to be a hard week. At Minnesota is also going to be hard just because we beat them in the playoffs, but last year, even with Wentz, it just, for some reason, I think Minnesota can give us problems, so I can see that being a toss-up. I think we split with Dallas. I think we're better than Dallas, but I just think that it's a division game. It's hard. Dallas is still a very good team. And I have our 4th loss either home against New England. I think New England's taking a step back.
Absolutely.
Brady's still Brady, so I can see him winning that game.
He's still the GOAT. He's still the best of all time.
And then we have to play Seattle the week after. I'm not saying Seattle's as good as they were, but those are 2 hard games in a row.
I give us our L's this season are going to be, it's arguable against Green Bay, but I'll give it against Green Bay. Seattle. And I say...
Do you think we beat the Cowboys twice? Can you see that?
I see us... If we don't beat the Cowboys twice, then I see us beating Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I get
So,
that. Minnesota's a toss-up for me.
Exactly.
I think the Eagles have a better roster, but at Minnesota, they're a tough team no matter what.
For sure,
if Kirk has one of his games where he just goes off, which he's capable of,
he can.
That's going to be a tough game.
We've seen it. He might not be clutch in the postseason, but, you know, I can't believe I'm going to even say these 2 names in the same sentence, but a very Peyton Manning-esque in the sense of a regular season.
That's a reach, Casey.
Listen,
that's a reach.
Kirk Cousins plays great in the regular season, and, and then the postseason happens, and he forgets how to throw the football. I don't know what happens, but guys, wow, just one incredible episode. What a great conversation between 2 great minds of sports.
I like to think of it that way. But.
Bro, thank you guys so much for checking out the 6th episode of the Lawless Sports Podcast. Please check it out on SoundCloud.com/Lawless Sports Podcast. Again, I've been your host, Casey Lawless, and again, Jason Schulman.
Pleasure to be on, man.
Bro, what a great episode. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.